Victory is in having done your best. If you have done your best, you have won. With that, we wish everyone present here a very bright and happy morning. I am Ramanujan Venkatraman, grade 11 student at Akshar Arbol, and I will be the master of ceremonies for today. We extend a warm welcome to our beloved chief guest for the day, Mr. Vetri Maaran, members of the governing board, the head of school, Ms. Priya Dikshit, the school leadership team, members of the school board, staff, and all the students and guests present here. Let us first begin this very exciting day with our school prayer. We request you all to join us for the prayer with your mics muted and your videos switched off to facilitate a glitch-free rendition of the prayer.
Please join us for the school prayer. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Asato ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. தமிழ்த்தாய் வாழ்த்து. நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்த கெழிலொழுகும் சீராரும் வதனமென திகழ்பரத்த கண்டமிதில் தெக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனர் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு பிறனுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் விந்தமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறமிழந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
We are thrilled to have all of you here today for Thiran 2021, held virtually this time around, but no different on its focus on entertainment, fun, and healthy competition. As you might already know, Thiran is an intra-school cultural event filled with fun activities for grades 4 to 12 to participate in. But do not forget that it is also a competition between the houses, Jal and Agni, and the more points you acquire for your team, the closer you will get for your house to winning. You can win 10 points if you win first place in an event and 5 points if you win second place. You will further get 1 point for participation, so we hope you'll participate enthusiastically in all the events you've signed up for. At the outset, I would like to thank Mr. Vetri Maaran, who has graciously accepted to be our chief guest today. We are proud to have him in our parent community here at AAIS, and he has watched the school grow over the years. Mr. Vetri Maaran is a multifaceted personality in the Indian film industry and is a well-known name across generations. As of 2021, he has won 5
Yeah, I think there was some technical difficulty there. Sorry about that. But continuing from where Rishi left off, Mr. Vetri Maaran is a multifaceted personality in the Indian film industry and is a well-known name across generations. As of 2021, he has won 5 National Film Awards, 8 Ananda Vikatan Cinema Awards, 2 Filmfare South Awards, and the Amnesty International Italia Award from 72nd Venice Film Festival. Vetri Maaran made his directorial debut with Polladavan in 2007. His second feature film, Arukulam 2011, won 6 National Film Awards. His production company, Grassroot Film Company, has produced several noteworthy films. His movie Visarane in 2016 was selected as India's official entry into the Academy Awards. We sincerely welcome you to this morning's event, sir. We now call upon our head of school, Ms. Priya Dikshit, to welcome our chief guest and set the context of this curtain raiser event, Third Eye.
Thank you, Ayush. Good morning and a very warm welcome on this rainy and intense day. Intense because of the weather conditions we are all braving here at Chennai, and intense because of all the energies that our young students have been building to participate in the competitions charted out for Thiran 2021. I can also see a lot of these comments happening on YouTube, and such excitement that has been happening on the Google Classrooms as well is what I hear from the teachers. When we first started thinking of an intracultural event a few years ago for our student community, the most important aspects was to provide a platform that will be engaging and entertaining, allow uninhibited participation for all our students, a place to compete and exhibit their skills, celebrate team spirit and camaraderie, respect, and most of all, a platform to learn. Opportunities like the Thiran, the art ensemble, the sports day, the language week, Earth Day, and so many of the classroom celebrations that happen within a smaller classroom setting, like the Science Day, Math Day, Bharatiyar Centenary Celebration. All of these are the learning experiences for the entire AAIS community. In an intricate and interdependent world that we live in today, while preparing our students for a complex, challenging, and an interconnected world that they are moving towards, we find multiple opportunities for our students to engage in to build their skills and attitudes. Students are encouraged to make meaning through these experiences and thus look at the whole new world with infinite possibilities to pursue. Each student is actualizing their potential in their journey here. Like it is said, it all begins at home. At this home too, Thiran is yet another platform for us to participate and showcase the talent in a non-judgmental atmosphere. This is the AAIS vision and mission in action. For this celebration, aligned to the Children's Day celebration, who better to invite as a chief guest other than one of our own community members, Mr. Vetri Maaran. He has been a very involved parent at the school, attending most, if not all of the events, engaging with the students during these events, and in some instances, he has guided small groups of students on specific projects. Every interaction with him has always been an eye-opener for us. And that brought us to think of an apt title for today's session, Third Eye. This phrase can be found across different disciplines and referenced in many texts across the world literature. But our usage refers to the unique ability to perceive beyond the obvious. We as a school are quite eager to know how he perceives beyond the obvious, what aids him in his decisions, how he identifies talent and brings out the best from those he works with, and much more. As usual, when we reached out to him, an immediate yes from him added to our excitement. And here we are this morning, braving the weather yet again. We are truly honored to have you, sir, on behalf of the school governing board and the school leadership team. Here is a humble token of our appreciation and regards. May I request Vishrut to show this? It's a portrait using text art, conceptualized by our art teacher, Ms. Sudanya, and created by Bharat. We will be sending you the physical copy in a few days' time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Joining me in this conversation this morning with Mr. Vetri Maaran are members of our student council, Ayush, grade 12 IB diploma program student, and he's also the sports captain at the ECR campus. Shreya, again, a grade 12 student of the IB diploma program, the captain of the Jal House. Sarvesh, a grade 11 Cambridge A-level program student, vice captain of the Agni House at the city campus, and Sarvad, a grade 11 IB diploma program student, the vice captain of the Agni House at ECR. These students are going to lead the conversation today with you, sir. I hear that there is also an interesting segment, and I'm also waiting with much awaited breath to see what it is that's going to unfurl. But before we plunge into this, a ubiquitous question for you, and I'm starting with about your growing up days. What do you remember the most? What do you cherish even today from those days that you've grown up, sir?
Good morning to all students and the teaching faculty and members of Akshara Board. I'm happy to be here today, though the weather is bad and we really don't know what's going to come next in this condition. I'm happy to be here. And to answer your question, it's been, I was a very adventurous kid, to put it very mildly. My parents would have something else to term that. So I've always had the, as a youngster, as a teenager, I've always had the liberty to do what I wanted to do at home. Of course, I was not able to fit myself into the typical academic space, but I was able to explore myself and express myself in other ways. Like I used to try a lot of things, like trying to write creative expressions, like trying to write poetry, or I used to do a lot of mimicry those days. So I trying to do this, that, and performing on stage. These were things that, and I used to play cricket. That was a very, very important part of my growing up days, cricket. So these are the things that come to my mind. And there are a few events and few incidents that really made me what I am today. But certain decisions my father took, those were things that I think I would share in the due course. But otherwise, it's my the freedom that I had at home to express myself in a creative way is the most important thing that I remember when I think of my school days, my teenage, and all.
That's great to know, sir. In fact, drawing a parallel between your childhood days and to a person that you are now, it's indeed great to know that you've had the freedom to express in your own ways. And if we see the various ways that people express in these days, it's just very interesting to see the change over the years. My next question for you, sir, is throughout these different years of my schooling, there have been several thoughts and perspectives that have always come my way regarding my future, regarding my interests and where they lie. So having done your master's in world literature, what actually inspired you to choose filmmaking as a mode of expression and a potential industry to venture into?
See, filmmaking was the result of my search to express myself creatively. As I mentioned earlier, like I was trying to do a lot of things. Like I was trying to do mimicry, I was trying to write poetry. I wrote my first poem when or I shouldn't call it a poem, but something like a poem when I was in my 8th grade, I guess. I wrote something and showed it to my mom, and like some 4 or 5 lines, I showed it to my mom, and she said, "This is good." She put the date on that and asked me to sign it and said, "You've done something good, you keep writing." So if my mom had told something else, maybe that night I would not have been able to develop that aspect. So when I was trying to write poetry, when I was trying to express myself through poems, I realized that I was inept at that that creative expression, and it was not enough for me to try to express myself through that. Then I started writing novels. When I was in my college first year, I wanted to write a novel, and I wrote around 400 pages or so, and then I realized that it was not good. It wasn't what I really wanted to say, and it wasn't coming through. I was not happy about doing that, whatever that I had written. Then in my second year of college, I was asked to take an elective course. In college, you have courses that does not directly attribute to your academic learning, but for an elective course just to score credits and to introduce yourself to other disciplines from the ones that you're specializing in. So I went to Viscom department and I took a course called television presentation just for the to have a change. And then when I was writing for the screen, like when I was trying to write a screenplay, like for short films or docu fiction, whatever, I thought it was the expression was more fulfilling, and I was able to express myself through this medium better than I trying to write a poem or a novel or a short story was. Then, even then, I was not very sure of whether I want to become a filmmaker or not, because I was at that point I was a serious literature student, and English literature, my alma mater, Loyola College, and literature had a great influence on the way I look at things, and the way I understood life. It influenced greatly, and I was thinking of being a scholar in literature. I wanted to do. I wanted to specialize. I wanted to do my PhD on Shakespeare and a few other comparative study. And when I had to finish the television presentation course, I did. My friend Martin and I. He was doing the cinematography. I wrote and I directed that. It was a docu-fiction, and it's a small film, 12-minute film. We did that, and Father Rajanayagam, who was heading visual communication that day, said that this is good. Why don't you send it to a competition that is happening, that is being conducted by MSW, so Madras School of Social Work. So we took it there, and jury members watched the film, and one of the jury members was my mentor, Balu Mahendra sir. He was part of the jury, and there's one acting department HOD, Madan Gabriel, from Adyar Film Institute, Government Film Institute. So he saw it and he liked the work. Of course, we did not win anything in that competition, but he called me, Madan Gabriel sir called me and told that if he asked me, what are your plans for the future? I said, I'm interested in filmmaking, but I don't know if I could think of that as a professional option. And then he told me, if you think that filmmaking is your life, then you have a bright future. I think that was the moment. That was the moment I consciously decided maybe I should pursue filmmaking as a career. Until then, it was just a way of expressing myself and understanding the world through the films that I watched and the films I was trying to write. So, but after that particular incident, I thought that this is maybe I should think of training myself that way. And I started reading books on it. My college library was a huge place, and I used to go sit, read, take a lot of books and come. And I still have a couple of books that I have not written. So I started reading, and during my master's MA, I told my parents that I want to become a filmmaker. At that point, my father was not keeping well. he was in the hospital. So I went and told my mom that I want to become a filmmaker. And she told my father, and he called me and said, if you want to become a filmmaker, then you have to study filmmaking, because filmmaking is science. It has got a lot of techniques to it. So you need to study before you want to do something about it. And he was very skeptical when I said I wanted to become a filmmaker, because he has read some of my stuff those days, and he had told my mom, like, no, there's nothing original coming out of him. He's just doing whatever that had already been made into films, and he's trying to change it and do stuff like that. So he needs to educate himself to do better. So that's where it all started. Education need not be academic. I did not choose academic education for filmmaking. I chose on the other way. But that's how it all started.
That was quite interesting to know, sir, and how multidisciplinary courses truly help build a broad approach and understanding of all that we learn. And also how reading is actually a skill that is constantly encouraged to develop that. As a student of English, we also study poetry. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost is quite famous. The last line, miles to go before I sleep, is open to a wide range of interpretations. We have heard that this phrase strongly resonates with you and your life. In fact, our memento for you we had this morning, a portrait of yourself, had that poem as the text. Would you like to take a moment to elaborate on the same and what makes this poem a special one to you?
I'm not a great fan of poetry as much as I mean, I connect more to novels and plays than poetry. Very few poets have inspired me, influenced me in through their expressions, through their work. Robert Frost is very special for me because everything he has, like, he's a romantic, at the same time, he's a very pragmatic person as well. The romantic poet and the pragmatic man who deals with the day-to-day life. That's very special about his writing. Especially this poem has that at the core of it, where he enjoys and does like he just goes in the woods, and I don't remember the poem line by line, but a man who's carried away in the beauty realizes that the journey has to continue. And that during my college days, I used to take a lot of effort to study, of course, in the wrong way. In the sense, I used to study only during the exams. Otherwise, because it's literature, you just read a novel, you enjoy the novel, you read a play, you enjoy the play. And for preparing for the exams, you need to take you need to read critiques, you need to take points, and you need to have work on presenting stuff. And there's one subject called history of English literature. Acronym is HELL. So it used to be HELL, because you need to remember all the dates, time, names. You say Shakespeare, then he has 10 contemporaries, then his next successors, like so many people, so many names, and so many plays, everything. So that's something that none of us used to like. So while studying for the exams, I just used to stay awake for 3 nights, 4 nights at a stretch, and then go write the exams, then come and sleep. That's how I used to study for my exams. That's not the right way to do, but still, I used to do it that way. So whenever I'm pushing myself harder to meet up the deadline, in anything that I do, whenever I feel tired, whenever I lose motivation, I say these lines to myself. and miles to go before I sleep is a very motivating thing. There is a Rumi poem also that says, in the similar lines, where it says the wind has secrets in it. Don't sleep now. It is on these lines. I forgot the exact phrase. So these are lines that have always kept me, or it has made me push myself further. And we know that we can go beyond where we stand, and we don't need to stop where you've been told to stop, or you feel that you're tired to stop. And uh, it's a scientific truth. When we feel that, okay, I can't deal with this anymore, I've pushed myself to the max, that is the point you physically and mentally have pushed yourself to the 40% mark. So when the mind is giving up, you have just done 40% of what you are capable of. So that is when we need to motivate ourselves, because motivation, when it comes from within, it has more power than what it used to have, what has, or what comes from externally. So that is when we need to push. And to push myself, I repeat this phrase. So whatever that I have enjoyed, whatever that I've seen is all fine, but I need to move on. I need to push myself a little further. And there are miles to go before I sleep. I keep saying this always.
Definitely, sir. It's wonderful to know how such a poem by an author can actually resonate so strongly with a person. In fact, a lot of other people of our ages as well, like students, come across this poem in the in the English curriculum as well. So it's very interesting. So self-motivation and keeping that mantra with one is actually a habit we each can pick up in front of our words. Though one may exhibit the different traits, as you said, staying balanced is important. Even about first being pragmatic and romantic at the same time. So in the international programs, actually, service learning is a very integral part of our experiences. So at school, we are exposed to a wide range of activities, and we are also encouraged to take up these diverse activities. For example, we come up with collection drives for special projects. We grow vegetable gardens at school. We participate in Model United Nations symposiums, and also participate in different forums where we actually discuss a wide range of global issues. But one thing we actually need to keep in mind is about building that, that strong balance between our extracurriculars and our academics. And while you have a very demanding professional life, we also hear that you have a strong focus towards the environment around you, and you actually spend quality time in the field of agriculture. So how do you actually bring about such a balance between your profession and your other interests, and how important are these activities as part of a school experience, for example?
Okay, I would start with my own experience. See, for me, everything starts with passion. uh, I don't. Okay, I am one of the gifted people who's been able to make my passion into my profession. Not everybody is gifted to do that. So I do only things that I believe in, and only things that I am passionately seeking to know and learn. There are a uh, lot of fields that interest me, uh, and a few I am very passionate about. And those areas, the passionate ones, I again push myself a little further to know things. And learning something new is in itself a big gift. It keeps you growing, and it keeps you uh, engaged. It develops you. It makes you understand new things that you did not understand earlier. And also, learning always makes you realize that we have so much to learn, so much to know more. We when you think that you know something, okay, I know this much, and you go to learn something new, you realize that you don't know anything. That field needs you to be a novice, an apprentice, to learn whatever that is being taught there. You could have hired someone to work for you, but you will end up learning from that person more. And this openness to learn and to understand things has always made me a person who wants to acquire something new. Learning is always part of the growth. I think growth in the sense, not in any other sense, but as a person, I feel learning something new, you get to understand yourself, your surroundings, and you get to respect people around you and your environment, and the whole ecosystem grows that way. And when you are learning something new, there is truthfulness, I feel. If you're open to learn something new, then you are true. There is no shortcuts to learn. You have to learn things by surrendering, by committed continuous efforts to learn something new. I think that is very, very important. That process has kept me a student, and I keep learning new things every, at least once in 3 years or 4 years. I pick up something new and I try to learn that. And learning is always important. And when you are exposed to diverse fields of knowledge at a very young age, you grow up as a person who's more socially committed and evolved. That's very important during student years, I think, because when we grew up, there was only one thing that was given to us through academic, through educational institutions. That was academic success. Only academic success was taken into consideration. The education system was different. Today, you all are exposed to a very healthy education system that I'm very, very happy about. I'm very happy my daughter Pondendral is able to learn these things, because education is not about just getting academic excellence, but it's about studying. Study means, like, seeking knowledge, something new. And I'm happy that you all are able to do that. You have the environment to do that. So that is, especially when you're mentioning about vegetable garden and so many other things, which normally kids don't get to, like, kids in your world doesn't get to do. Like, in cities, you don't have not all of us have space to have a garden. When you do it within the school, it becomes a community activity. Being part of a community is also very, very important during your days, the growing days. That way, you all are very gifted to have this kind of an educational background.
It's truly inspirational, sir. Thank you for that. So learning is a lifelong process. Being a lifelong learner is the biggest learning one can have. That is open-mindedness we work towards developing at school, taking on different experiences, wholeheartedly participating, making them a learning experience. As students, at some point we have to choose our careers, and yet many of us are just left confused and not knowing the way forward. The commonly heard aspirations are doctors, engineers, and software developers, etc. But today, the new careers developing, like user X designer, career strategist, chief listening officer, and so on. So my question is that, in your opinion, how does one prepare for such new jobs in a dynamic world we are entering into?
As I mentioned, I think your passion should guide you in doing these things. There's some random quote I read some time back. Choose a profession where you don't need to go on a vacation, where you don't need to have a holiday from. So I think it all boils down to one thing: passion, and how you see yourself being in that particular field of interest that you desire to be in 10 years from now. And of course, parents and your elders are there to guide you, but I think they cannot really understand what you are within, and they can guide you, but they will not be able to understand what you actually are until and unless you decide. See, all of us are just seeds, and though a banyan tree will produce a banyan seed, the tree doesn't know what the seed has in it. Only the seed has to live, experience, and express itself. So it's your duty to look out for what you really care for. See, sometimes we might fail in the profession that we want to do. We might choose something and we might fail in that, but it is something that means something to us. It is not a random thing that was thrust upon you by the family, the society's compulsion, and all of the such things. It is something that you chose to do. You chose to be there, and we might, in terms of the societal standards, fail in it, but we have done something that we really wanted to do. And okay, success and failure is part of life. That is going to make you a better human being. And I feel it's very, very important to do what we really want and what we care for. And winning is part of life, but it is not the purpose of life. See, life is meant to be lived. Living, in quotes, has certain values to it, and success is only a very minuscule part of living a good life. There are so many people who lead good lives, and the standards, the societal standards of success might not necessarily fit into the kind of lives that they've lived. See, a life where you are happy with yourself, there is no conflict within yourself. See, we thinking within ourselves, "Cha, adu pannirundha nalla irundhukume. I would have been happier if I had done that. But my parents made me become a doctor." I have met so many disillusioned doctors and engineers who really don't want to do it and want to do something else, but they're doctors. So that is something we need to avoid. We need to choose a field that is going to keep us committed and happy. I feel those kind of people contribute to a better society. And to do this, you need to understand yourself, and you need to be able to communicate. Communication is very important. Communication with your parents is the first thing, where you make them understand what you really want to do. And I was not able to do that when I was a kid. My father used to say, those days it was my sister was, I think, district third or so in her 12th grade, and or school second or third, whatever. She was a topper, and she was so upset and she was crying because she got 197 out of 200 in chemistry. She was upset about that kind of. And my father was a veterinary scientist. My mother was an academician, and she just completed her PhD. So academics have been part of my family in a very strong way, where I never wanted to study. So when I was in my 11th grade, my father used to tell me, at least you were engineer. For him, becoming an engineer was at least. And I was not able to deal with that. And I wanted to become a cricketer those days, like any other Indian kid. So when I was not able to convince my father on what I wanted to do, I didn't know what else to do. I was not going to school on my. I was put in the first group, I think, like where there's mathematics, computer science, and computer science was a new discipline those days. And you guys might not understand that. There used to be one computer, one big machine for one whole school, and it used to be kept in an AC room, and you all will have to queue outside the room, and the teacher will be inside. Only three people will be allowed inside the room. You have to leave your slippers outside the room, and the AC used to be so cold. You need to go in, stand, and see how he turns on the system, and with the big keypad, he will teach you what to do. You stay there, learn, come out. Then the next batch goes in. That's how computers used to be those days. So I did not go to school. I was not very much into it, and I didn't want to continue doing that, and I didn't know how to tell my parents this. So I ran away from home and I disappeared. I absconded. So I from Ranipet, I was in Ranipet then. So I came to Chennai, and I was with my karate master at my karate master's place. So my mom and my father knew that this is drama, but my mom was emotionally worried and concerned, and she was panicking. So then I came back like 2 days later. I came back and my father asked me, okay, what do you want to do? You don't want to do what I want to do. What do you want to do? I said, I want to become a cricketer. Then he found a school for me in YMCA. I wanted to study in NLC. That was those days. That was the best school for aspiring cricketers. So we couldn't get admissions there. So I came to Chennai to do physical education as a discipline, and I wanted to play cricket. So there, once I came there, see, the way with which I communicated with my family was not right. I should have been able to express myself clearly and tell them that it is not in me to do a very academically motivated discipline. But again, those days, as I mentioned, we didn't have much options in terms of educational expressions. So today you have so many syllabus, so many ways of expression. You guys like know with whatever the questions that are coming to me, and the way you're responding, more than the questions, the way you're responding to what I say shows that you all have been exposed and you all have evolved in a very finer way compared to my generation kids your age. So that's attributed to the kind of education you're exposed to, how you are allowed to think on your own. That is very, very important when it comes to education. Seeking and your ability to think on your own, that's very important, I feel. So today the possibility of doing that is there. So it's your duty to make your elders, your parents, your guardians, your significant others understand what you really want, and from there everything starts. So I think that's very, very important.
Thank you, sir. It's truly interesting and inspirational. May I say the formula is passion plus guidance gives fulfilling working life. So enjoying what each of us can choose to do, and open communication with parents, being able to share what we feel or think. So that way, parents are the first guides, probably. So I have a follow-up question for you, sir. So what's the importance of having a guide or a mentor? You've had your karate master, parents, and who were the others, or the only one? And how have they influenced you and your thoughts, a way of life, and leading up to such a fulfilling profession you have today?
See, I feel that you have teachers all through your life, and you will have few mentors in your life. So teachers are people who will teach you on how to do things. Say, for instance, if I I work in the farm now, so the person with whom I work, Paneer, I learn something from him, and I check with a lot of people, and they guide me in doing certain things. Those are teachers, people who have taught me education. Those are teachers for me, and parents teach you everything. But we find few mentors. Mentors could not necessarily need to be your teachers per se. Could be anyone who will open up the doors for you to learn life as such. You could succeed in life, you could fail in life, but a mentor will teach you how to deal with that life. When you're successful, you need to stay grounded, and when you are in failure, you need to stand up. So these are things that you learn from your mentors. Mentors will put put sense into you, and they will give you the right perspective. And those mentors, I've had a few. My mentor, Balu Mahendra sir, I always mention him, and in all my interviews, invariably I end up talking about him at least once. That's because the kind of influence he has had on my life, and he has taught me everything about life. Uh, there are certain instances where mentors. Okay, let me try to rephrase it. Mentors teach you life by living with example. Like, they give their life, their behavior, their acts are your guides. There was an incident when uh, this happened when I was 28 or 26 maybe, and Balu Mahendra sir must have been in his late 60s. There was this kid who was working in his office at that time. He must have been around 16 or 17 years old. So Balu Mahendra sir asked him to go to the medical shop and get him some medicines. So this boy comes, he had taken 50 rupees from Balu Mahendra sir. He comes back and he gives him back 14 rupees and gives the tablet. So he takes the money and says, okay, இவ்வளவுதான் கொடுத்தாரா, இவ்வளவுதான் கொடுத்தாங்களா மீதி, he asked. The boy says yes, and says, okay, where is the 10 more rupees? The boy says, no sir, this much only they gave. He says, like, see, this tablet is 26 rupees, you need to have 24 rupees, you only given me 14 rupees. So you've taken 10 rupees, you have to accept it. If you accept it, I'm not going to do anything to you. It was like the boy got very emotional and very defensive and said, sir, no, sir, I did not take it, sir. No, you've mistaken and all of this. So he lost his temper. Balu Mahendra sir lost his temper and says, I've been asking you very, very politely to accept to the mistake that you've done. I look at it as a mistake. All I want is you to apologize and give me back the 10 rupees. Then the boy said, no, sir, I did not take it. He says, okay, I'm going to send someone to the medical shop and get you red-handed. If I do that, I'll send you out of the job. The boy was, a moment he was hesitant and said, okay, sir. So one of my colleagues who worked with me, Vikram, he was sent to the medical shop and he called the office. Those days, there was no mobile phone, only landline. So I picked up the call, and Vikram told Vetri what the boy said was right. The medical shop guy forgot to give 10 rupees. So I didn't know how to tell this to sir, because this was going on for half an hour and then he goes there. So then I told sir, sir, the medical shop guy had made a mistake. So the pharmacist had done this. He is the cause for all these things. Then he called the boy and said, I'm sorry. I apologize to you. I made a mistake. I'm extremely sorry for putting you through this thing. And he said, forgive me. It was like an eye-opener for me. Balu Mahendra sir need not have done these things. He could have said, okay, go continue with the work. The boy would have felt, okay, he's not going to expect it. But he had to apologize, not for the boy, but for himself. That was something that he had to do for himself to get out of the mistake that he has committed. He assumed that a boy in his position would take 10 rupees from his employer. That was a mistake. That was a misconception. That was something that Balu Mahendra sir thought needed an apology for. And he apologized. At the age of 68, 69, apologizing to a 16-year-old kid was not necessary. And it was an honest apology. So this is something that, of course, this is just one instance. There are thousands of instances of him that I've seen in the 10 years that I've been with him. So many instances where you learn. And once you accept someone as your mentor, then you learn from them what to do as well as what not to do. What not to do are things that we don't need to discuss here. There are things that we need to discuss on what to do. So this is very special. And I would put my father in the category of a mentor because he has always, he's a scientist. So he was, most of the times he was traveling and he was in his always engrossed in his research and all of that. So he was never the typical father for me or my sister. He was always a figure who was a father in absentia. Right? That I was talking about what I'm doing to my kids now, but he was like that. So when I was in my 7th grade, I was studying at Holy Cross, Vellore, Sasakachari school in Vellore. So there was this class test where I was writing and I did not know an answer for a question, and the boy was sitting next to me had kept a book open under the table, and he was writing from the looking at the book. And I looked at him and I looked at the book. It was easy for me. I started writing down exactly what is there in it. And the sister who was the invigilator, she caught me. She couldn't get hold of the boy next to me. But she told, you have to bring your parents the next time. So tomorrow, if I have to go there, then I have to take my parents to the school the next day. So I went home. I convinced my sister. Sister was 3 years elder to me, and she was in the same school. So I convinced my sister and my mom that I did not do it. The boy next to me had done it, and then the blame had come on me. So I did not expect. My father was, at that point, he was working in Chennai, and we were in Ranipet. So he used to come only during weekends. Friday nights he used to come, and he used to be there Saturday, Sunday. But that day, some weekday, he was there that night. Around 1:30, he comes home, and I was pretending to be sleeping for a long time. And my mom was telling that he had done. It was not him. It was the boy who's next to him who had copied, and our son has been the victim of this whole thing. And I was hearing my father saying, okay, get the notebook and get the book. So I had written exactly word by word what is there in the book. So my father woke me up. I was so scared and reluctant to wake up. And And I can't be sleeping all the time, throughout the night when someone is waking me. I just woke up and I was pretending. I started off saying that, Daddy, naan pannave illa. He stopped me, he cut me up. Like, he stopped me halfway through and said, see, you have just written word by word of what is there in the book. I'm sending you to school to study. I'm sending you to study and not to score marks. Education is about learning. It is not about getting big grades and passing with the sent person or whatever. I want you to learn. I don't want you to pass your exams without learning. I'm sending you to schools to learn. And I was expecting a very aggressive behavior from my father, but when he said this, it just stayed in my mind. And after that, I have, in 2 occasions, walked out of the examination hall giving a blank answer sheets because I did not know the answer for the questions asked. Once it was in college second year, because overnight they changed the, like, before the exam holidays, the syllabus was one. And once the exam holidays were announced, then I went home to study. And in those few days, they had changed the syllabus, and the question paper was not even one question was asked from the area that I had prepared myself for. I just saw the question paper, didn't know what to do. I just gave the blank paper and came. As I was walking out, my professor stopped me, an invigilator stopped me and said, why do you have to leave? Why don't you write something? I said, sir, I don't want to write something. I will not write unless I know what I'm writing and what I'm doing. I just walked out. And then I had to clear that paper. It's a different story. But ever since that incident, I had never wanted to do something like that. And I never take credits for whatever other people do in my films also. I think I put the bibliography and filmography within a film for the first time ever. I've not seen it in the world also before that. That is because my father showed me the way in my 7th grade. So I think this is what mentors do. They just make you understand life in a better way. So the moment you have a good mentor, then you are sorted. Whatever you do in life, you will be committed, happy, and passionate.
Yes, sir. So we do have, I mean, teachers who are like the greatest guides, and we have, we will come across mentors who will teach us how to deal with different aspects of life, and not just by saying, but by living as an example, and how, the kind of influence that they have on us is really impactful. While you had mentioned your greatest inspiration towards choosing the film industry, if you had to move into a completely different industry or profession, what would you choose and why? And what are some of the learnings from this profession that you would carry with you?
I don't know if I would want to shift professions, uh, but I would like to do a few things. Say, for instance, like farming, and there are a few other things. I also raise pigeons, and these are some of my passion stuff. And filmmaking is something in entirety. Like it has got everything encapsulated into one thing. Being a filmmaker means you need to be aware of everything that you do, and it has taught me how to look at life and how to understand the world around me. I think that will immensely help me do anything that I do. Uh, from here, I learned as a film student, I've learned to be dedicated and committed to whatever I do, and with the kind of passion or the kind of passion that is needed to do something constructively. And also, I worked for 10 years. I assisted for 10 years before I started making films, which means every discipline, every learning, every aspect of life needs a gestation period. There is a period where you learn, you incubate, you sit, you're quiet, you introspect, and then you express. I think these are this if we have this thought process, if we have these things in place, all these things in place, then we all will be able to excel in any field that we want to. Of course, now I can't become an academician. Now I can't now go and study astronomy, but I can learn few aspects of that. If I want to do it, there are certain things that I cannot do, but you all can do anything that you want to do because you have the age to learn, invest, and see whether it's going to be of any help to you or your immediate surroundings in the long run. So that way, I can learn new things, but I don't know if I will want to change professions.
As you mentioned, sir, filmmaking has taught you how to lead life, and you've definitely cultivated several learnings from this industry. So it's very interesting to know that while you still wish to continue several passions of yours. So to be a filmmaker, you have to lead, and you have to be a psychotic in your desire to do something. People always like the easy route. You have to push very hard to get something unusual, something very different. Danny Boyle, actually a famous British director, said. So at one point you were mentored, you were guided, and today as a director, you are the leader. And how do you perceive, conceptualize, influence, and mentor all the people around you?
I don't know if I am ready to mentor or do other things to people. I still feel that every time I'm shooting, I feel that my mentor is standing right behind me, and if I get something good, something nice, I would think and I would tell my team members that Sir only the Patarna, he will feel he will appreciate. I say, I always say that Sir Patarna. I keep saying that, and I always feel that he's there. And as long as influencing or making people do what to give their best, I feel that I give them the space, be it my cinematographer, my composer, my production designer, my art director, my actors. I think I put them in a space where my passion and my passion lets them see what I have envisioned, and the space that I give them to express themselves, they're able to do what works ultimately for the film. See, filmmaking is a process where it is not about what the director envisions. I don't look at it only that way, and I would like to disagree in one thing. You don't need to be psychotic all the time to be a filmmaker. Sometimes you end up being adamant because you don't know why you want something. See, as a filmmaker, all of us must have felt it. You know that when you're in a team, when you're leading a team, or when you're doing something with few of your friends, you will just say, Macha, I don't know why I want to do it this way, but I want it to be done this way. When you're a cricketer, when you're a bowler, when you're setting up a field, your captain might want something, and you will say, no, I want a fielder there. Or you are a captain and the bowler says, I want a fielder here. No, you will say, no, let us keep the fielder there. You don't know why you want to do it, but you feel compelled to do it. When you do it that way, then the batter hits the ball and the ball goes exactly where you had placed your fielder. That is something that happens because you are guided by something that you cannot express. That is there. But You don't need to be always psychotic to get things done, but we can. We should always be able to put the film above any individual, because film is an entity, it's an entirety, it's like the cosmos, it's like the world, it's like the universe. It is bigger than an individual who's part of the film. In literature, they say bury the author and read the text. They say that way. Any work of art, any work of science, any work is always greater than the author. So in Tamil they say that. So the work of art is bigger than the artist. It is always bigger. That way, we need to surrender to the film that we are doing, the cause. The cause is very important. When you have the right cause, everybody will fall in line, and all of us will do what is good for the cause, for the totality, the complete outcome, not just what the director envisions. The director might envision something, but someone else might bring something in onto the table and say, no, this might be good. As a filmmaker, as a director, as a leader, your duty at that point is to give up what you are stuck. You might be stuck in your head with something, and at that point, you give that up and say, okay, this sounds good. Let me just try to have it and see how it works. That is where a filmmaker, a leader, a person who's part of a team actually contributes to the film, to the society, to the team, to the world. I think being open and keeping the final product as in mind. The goal is to deliver, to make a better world, to make a better film, to make a better community. That's important than having one person's vision, one person's wish happening. So I think that's very important.
Thank you, sir. So everyone plays a part. Is a part of the whole, just like this session we are having. Thank you, sir. Thank you again. One last question from us. What is probably the one character from a book or movie that resonates with you the most?
I don't know if there's something that resonates with me. There are certain characters that I have looked up to and I had learned a lot from. There are certain characters that I really admire, and I want to be that character. One such character is Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. That's a guy that I would like to be. There is a phrase in that book, I forgot the exact phrase, where it says, this man is what he is in the world behind his closed walls. So being what you are inside four walls, the same as you are outside in the world, is a big challenge. All of us have standards. You are one with your friends and teachers. Where once you go back inside your room, lock your room, and take your mobile phone in hand, you are a different person. So that, getting across that divide is very important. And whatever that is discussed about that man in the book is very inspirational and educative, I would say. And there's also another character called Kunta Kinte. That's how it's pronounced in Roots. It's about this man is an African who's abducted into slavery from Africa into America. So his journey, how he passionately refused to be brought down by oppression. That's something that I've always I read it when I was in my first year in college, so it has stayed in me very strongly, and it actually shook me, changed my understanding of the world, and it made me respond to the injustices that happened throughout the world in various ways. And also, there are so much of Shakespearean characters that have influenced me, and it's a collective thing. Whatever the Shakespearean tragedies have been a great influence in my creative expression. So all of these, there are so many, but these just come to my mind. And there is also another book called Wolf Totem. So there's an old man called Bill G in it. Again, he also is a mentor. So these are characters that I can immediately recollect. These are very special books, and I would suggest all of you read these books. All three of them are very interesting reads. But I think Wolf Totem is a bigger book, like some 800, 900 pages, I think. I'm not sure. But all of these are very important reads. Roots, maybe you can read a couple of years later. Other books you can read now.
Thank you, sir. That's really fascinating. All of your responses are really highly valued here. And well, that has been an absorbing session. And my friend Sarvad has something interesting waiting for us all. Over to you, Sarvad.
Now, after all these insightful questions, let's have a slight change of pace. We're going to be moving on to a thrilling rapid fire round. We'll be going through 15 short questions for which Vetri Maaran sir will be responding to. And I also involve those on the YouTube stream as well. So some of those questions will be made into polls and will be put up on YouTube where you all can answer to see how much you all match frequencies with this excellent person. You'll have about 30
I'm very bad at I'm very bad at rapid fire. I'm always bad at it.
No, you have like 30 to 40 seconds and it'll be very simple, just opinion based questions.
Okay.
Everyone just stay tuned, stay focused, and yeah, let's go ahead. Now, if you had to make a particular film, like pick two opposites, a documentary or a rom-com, which one would you pick?
Documentary.
If you had to own a pet, which would you prefer, a cat or a dog?
Dog.
If you wanted to unwind, would you want to watch a movie or read a book?
Mindless watching. I like watching comedy. Watching Vadivelu comedy does a lot of things to unwind.
If you had to pick a vacation destination, which would you pick? A mountains, a beach, or the city?
I'm basically a city person. I like my home the best for vacation. I not that much. So, but if you ask me to choose between the hills and sea, I choose the hills. Even more, I would choose a riverbank. So I'm basically a riverbed person.
Favorite genre of music of the four? Classic rock, pop, rap, or Indian classical music?
I'm a Tamil film music person. To be precise, Ilayaraja person. That's the music I grew up on.
Singing a song and dancing to one.
You have a third option?
Yeah, wait. I think, Sarvat, you may want to wait because that's going to be an audience poll question. So let's give 30 seconds. Over there. So hold on your answer.
Coordinated. The polls will be a little ahead of time to facilitate this.
We'll just wait. It's just coming up. And okay, let's see how
Going a little faster than expected.
Yes, you are. Okay, I've actually cast my poll. I can see the answer. Okay, now sir can answer.
Okay, so for me, there are two regrets. Very few regrets when it comes to these things. In college, I used to. Okay, this is no more a rapid fire thing. I need to elaborate a bit to come to the answer. During my college days, I used to do everything on stage, like acting. I used to write, I used to stage, and my classmate of mine, Jagan, he works in Vijay TV. So he and I used to do most of the variety entertainment stuff. We used to entertain the viewers in all ways possible. But there is one regret for me, two regrets for me when it comes to stage. I can't sing and I can't dance. So I really regret that. So that's why I asked if you have a third option.
No, sir, you choose one amongst the two, and we will probably let you in on what the audience is preferring to probably watch you.
Okay, see, I would. See, I at least I'm a bathroom singer. I sing to my very close people. Dancing is not me. So, what is the poll result?
I'll wait for Kartika to come back with the poll result. It says singing a song 56% and dancing to one is 43%.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. Go ahead, Sarvad.
Which would you prefer to boost your energy, coffee or tea?
Actually, it should not be both. But now I'm drinking coffee. That's what I'm drinking. By the way, I keep telling my daughter this, and I'm telling you all this. Don't eat sugar. Sugar is white sugar, processed sugar is the most dangerous drug ever invented by man. Like the chemical drug is sugar. All your future health problems are going to be caused by sugar. You stay away from sugar for 14 days, you'll see the kind of focus you have, the kind of energy you have, the kind of appetite you have, the skin. If you have some this pimple problems, whatever that is going to be coming your way soon, that will not be there. Everything will be good for you. Like, stay away from processed sugar. That's the best thing that you all can do for yourself. So I'm drinking coffee, but I should not be drinking coffee. But I used to start my day with one hot glass of hot water, a little bit of lemon in it, apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of curcumin, manjal portu. I drink that. That's a very, to add taste to it, I add one pinch of salt and drink. That's very good. But to answer your question, it's coffee.
First author that comes to your mind, no thinking.
Sorry.
The first author that comes to your mind.
Author. Shakespeare.
Straight to the old days. Yeah. For the techie in you, which would you prefer, Android or Apple?
Apple.
Yeah. It's also an audience question. Let's see which comes in.
Okay. I think they'll get it right.
We have 56%. Oh, it just went off my screen. I'm not able to see that anymore.
Okay.
Kartika, would you have the poll result?
They are still voting.
Oh, they're still
voting. Coming in.
I think you should give the questions to them first and then ask me so that we can have it in sync.
Right.
Yeah. I'll mention.
You can put the questions out.
It did come to me, and I could see the poll happening. It came in the previous class.
Very close. Android 53%, Apple 47%.
Oh, okay.
Now it's 51-49.
Okay.
Android is 51.
Okay.
Favorite movie genre?
Sorry?
Yeah, favorite movie genre.
Favorite movie genre is intense, gritty drama.
The first English movie that comes to your mind.
No, that is not possible to say. It's really challenging.
Need not be like your favorite or anything. This first thing that just pops into your mind when you think of Hollywood movie.
I don't like Hollywood movies, but let me try to think a good movie to to say? Okay, I would. No, I will just take an international movie for this. I will say Babel. Babel.
Would you rather use a motivational quote or give a pep talk to convey something?
Not both.
So then, what's the?
I don't believe in both. I just would share my experience on something, and I would. If you can pick up something out of that, then I'm happy.
This one's an audience question. So, which would you prefer, a character-driven or a story-driven plot?
People are voting right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting.
And I'm quite interested to see what would be there, considering that many of us would have caught your movies. We are also thinking whether it was a character-driven or were they story-driven movies that you made. So I'm quite interested in seeing this. Atika, do we have the results?
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Should I say the answer now?
Yes, dear.
Story driven.
Okay. What is the percentage?
Story driven.
Give us your answer first.
Give us your answer first.
I just want to know that.
The result. I made a mistake there. We shouldn't have given the result.
Yes.
Our opinion.
Actually, I thought the audience poll would be character driven because most of the characters are defined. So I thought people would say that. But the fact is what they've told only. See, I go by a plot. I choose a world and the conflict in the world. The conflict in the world defines the characters. How they respond. See, all of us are defined by the situations we are put in only. So, of course, the basic character is there, but when you are put in a situation, when you grow in a particular situation, in a world, you evolve yourself responding to the stimuli from that. That way, it is the story that is important to me.
So that way, the poll results are story-driven 61%. Character-driven 38%.
Yeah.
If you were to play a role in a film, would you play as the protagonist, antagonist, or the neutral character in between it all?
This question has been asked to me many a times, for which I've had one constant answer. And this all the Tamil audiences must have come across this expression from of Vadivelu. I always say this. Yeah, nalladana poittirukku. I always say this. To explain this clearly, being a scriptwriter, being a filmmaker is psychologically, it's like playing God. You write a script. You make everything happen in a given scenario. So you have this God complex as a writer, not as a person. As a writer, you think that you know everything. Being an actor is a very narcissistic space. An actor needs to look after himself, how he is seen on screen, how he is expressing himself on screen. So the attention is on that one particular person through the process of making the film. So both these states of mind are not the right kind of states of mind. So a or woman with a God complex, not good. A man who's very woman who's very narcissistic, not good. All of us need to detox from these effects. So imagine a combination of a man with a God complex who's narcissistic. It's very destructive. So I don't want to get caught in that space. Already, I had to detox myself a lot for the work that I'm doing. So I don't think I want to act as of now. I'm not very keen on acting.
The question here, sir, all your response is insightful, is if push comes to shove and you have to play a role, what would it be? The protagonist and neutral. Exactly what we tell
No,
our
I would not. I'm not very particular. I'm not particular. I would do what is necessary at that point.
Okay.
Which season inspires you the most?
Season in the sense like
Yeah, summer,
climate.
winter.
Okay, summer. I'm a Chennai boy. I'm a summer guy. I like to sweat. And this climate is not something for me.
I'm also just waiting for this rains to go by. Then you'll get nice cool weather outside. You can easily go.
I like to have nice, hot, humid, sweaty weather. That's something that I like.
And last thing, would you prefer to be an early bird or a night owl? This is also an audience question.
And we have the poll result, but we are not going to let.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you an early bird
See,
or a night owl?
yeah, I will answer this question. I have a problem where I cannot sleep once the sun is up. When the sky opens, I have to wake up. But I sleep at 2:33 in the morning. So that answers your question. I'm both.
That is the same result from the people. Night owl.
Yeah.
So is it
See, yes, I'm both. But my most productive time is the night. After 11 o'clock, when the silence sets in, when I don't hear the traffic noise, then I'm active. That is not good. It is always, people say that it is, I have a breathing exercise teacher. He says, you start your day before 4 a.m. You work till 7 a.m. Then if you want, you can rest for half an hour. You're going to be fresh, he says. But I continue working from 11:30 till 4 in the morning. And if I'm when I'm writing, I won't be able to sleep until it is out of my system. So that's the most excruciating time of the creative process. It just pushes you, keeps pushing you. You are forced to do so many things, and the last thing that you will be able to do is sleep. So I just try to get over that phase soon, as soon as possible.
What are the audience results for this one?
We have night owl at 64% and early bird at 35%.
Okay.
That should just about conclude this very thrilling rapid fire session. Thank you so much, sir, for being extremely sportive and enthusiastically participating in this round. And big shout out to all the audience in the YouTube stream for putting their results in to spice up the game even more. Now, sir, we kindly request you to share a few quick words with our entire school community.
I'm very happy that I was part of this event today, and I should thank the school for setting this up, and one special thanks to the whole Aksharar Bowl team as a parent is to have made thinking youngsters out of children is very I find my daughter Pundendral asking me some very interesting questions which I asked only at the age of 18 or 19. At the age of 12 she's asking those questions, and that I attribute fully to the school, and I'm thankful that your syllabus, your teaching methods, and your the whole system has made her and all your students to seek. I'm very happy that she's part of this school.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all, and special thanks to all the student body member who came up with questions. And as I said, not just the questions, the way you all responded to the answers. I'm still wondering if your teachers helped you in responding to those answers, but still you were able to do it, and all the very best for you in all your future endeavors. That's for all the students, and all the very best for the events to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those insightful and inspiring words. The last 90 minutes have really gone by swiftly. Now I call upon Shreya to deliver the vote of thanks.
First, think. Second, dream. Third, believe. And finally, dare. These are the words of one of the greatest personalities, Walt Disney. And these are apt for our chief guest today. Through the conversation we had with him, one realizes that it is focused and continuous effort that will produce the results one desires. Think, dream, believe, dare is a path he has chosen to walk, and he has so willingly allowed us to have a peek into that. We often hear our teachers mention the learner profile attributes, inquirer and risk taker. Listening to your journey is a true example of how these develop over a period of time and how they unfold in real life. Thank you for generously sharing experiences, sir. In line with the spirit of the 10th year at school, inspire, shine, share, your narration has made each of us feel motivated and charged. It is not just for the events we all will be participating in the next 2 days, but for many more challenges we may face in the days to come, that we will see our spirit in action. The entire session kept each of us hooked to every single word you said. What personally resonated with me, and probably my fellow students would agree with too, is if I can't, then I must. Having that motivation to go further when one is ready to give up, mentally and emotionally. How the motivation from within is more powerful. It's also the importance of staying open-minded, taking up the opportunities that come our way, building that attitude of being a learner. How we do have a lot of open opportunities to try new things and have the freedom to truly express ourselves, making choices and facing the consequences of having made that choice. My personal biggest takeaway is winning is a part of life and not purpose of life. Whether it is in the world today or in our very own school community itself, I think we can all connect to this. Truly, you have shown us a whole new world through your lens once again. Thank you, sir, for your time, your rich words, and for being a part of our celebrations. Thank you to our board members, parents, and students who have joined us on YouTube. Many thanks to our teachers who have guided us council members, regardless of the time of day, in planning and organizing this event, especially overcoming the challenges of conducting it virtually. Our heartfelt thanks to our school leadership team, who constantly challenge and motivate us to take on different opportunities. They lead us by example. On behalf of the entire student council, big thank you to each of you for making Thiran 2021 happen. Thank you. Have a wonderful 2 days of celebration. Over to Ayush for the next set of announcements.
Thank you, Shreya. We really hope that you all enjoy the rest of today and tomorrow and participate in all the events with nothing but enthusiasm and energy. Please do remember to join all the events to the link given in Google Classroom at least 10 minutes before the start time. And please ensure you have a backup data plan to enable your participation without a snag. Yes, Thiran is a competition and the competitive spirit should ride high. Nevertheless, let us all remember that we must play fair, stay principled, honest, and be respectful at all times. We hope to see all the participants have a great experience in this virtual edition of Thiran 2021. Before you all sign off, this edition of Thiran also has something in store for all our staff and parents. We heard your request and feedback from last year and have specially organized events for you all to participate in. The teachers event and the parents event will be conducted on November 13th, Saturday morning, and the details will be made available in your child's homeroom stream on Google Classroom. So remember, there is a special prize for all your participation and your winning too. For the grade level from which there is maximum parent participation, there are extra points that will go to the teams. So students, please ensure that your parents are ready and participate in the event. The championship cup could be yours with their points too. Thank you so much for joining. We wish you all the best of luck and thank you for listening to us patiently.